This is a Higher Truth production. Today, this video is about the coronavirus and about diagnosis and about new facts, new clinical facts and clinical findings that have yet to be largely published. Just in the last 24 hours, a published article from the Journal of Radiology told us basically that CT scans of the lungs are more accurate means to diagnose coronavirus than the blood test or a straight chest x-ray. Now, I did a video about the concerning neurological symptoms being seen in many of the victims in Wuhan and around China. A lot of seizures, tremors, and uncontrolled body movements, and death. And when there was a reference from a doctor that they were surprised to see what was on the CT scans, of course, being from America, I assume they were scanning people's brains. Because when you have neurological symptoms, when you have seizures, the first thing they do is do a CAT scan on your brain. You have severe migraines, do a CAT scan on the brain. They were doing CAT scans on the brain, but they were also doing CAT scans on the lungs. And 1,000 people studied, all confirmed coronavirus cases, all had 3 different tests: the blood test, chest x-ray, and the CAT scan, or the CT scan. The CT scan was able to diagnose coronavirus in 88% of the victims. The blood test was only 51% or 55%, somewhere in the low 50s. So by far the theme of this message is that the CT scan so far has been the earliest and most accurate way to diagnose coronavirus. Now, the word accurate can be misleading because at 88%, that leaves 12% false negatives. So that's way too many. There has to be a better system, but until we find a better system, it looks like the CT scans are going to be the way to go. And the issue is, like I said before, in the United States, when you present with pneumonia or a chest cold or abnormal lung sounds, the first thing the insurance companies want done is a chest x-ray. They're not going to jump over a $52 x-ray to go to a $500 test. And so I'm questioning whether some of these insurance companies will even be on board with this. So if you end up in the hospital and they're trying to diagnose you with a test that's only 51 to 55% accurate, even the CDC's tests on the sputum, they say roughly 30 to 40% are false negatives on the first run, and they have to wait for the culture to grow, and then that's where they get their positive readings upon the second and third testing. So if you're in the hospital and the insurance doesn't want to pay for it, first of all, threaten them. Tell them if you end up with coronavirus and they could have diagnosed it with a CT scan, that you will hold them criminally liable. Don't say, we're going to sue you. Tell them, I'm going to hold you criminally liable. Also, pay for it yourself. They don't have to cough up any money at the day of the PET scan or CAT scan. They'll bill you for it. So it's no reason not to get a CAT scan or a CT scan of your lungs. That's just the bottom line, especially if you got this stuff. I have been spending time looking at some of the clinical stuff because a lot of that documentation stays pretty accurate, and it's kind of like illegal and sacrilegious and unethical and unthinkable to go into medical records and change them. So, but a lot of the medical stuff coming out of China in writing is, as far as I'm concerned, is more accurate than what gets reported verbally. So it's to me, it's very, very obvious that the CT scan is the way you've got to push if you're sick. And I'm showing you some CT scans now, and you can see how the coronavirus differs from most pneumonias. And what happened and what they saw, there's a couple here that are before and after, is the rapid way in which it just exploded in the lungs. And it was always bilaterally. A lot of times in chest x-rays, you can get pneumonia in one lung. But in the coronavirus, very few people ever had a single lung involvement, almost nobody. So that's pretty important. Now, there's a lot of stuff on Twitter going around about vitamin C and vitamin C infusions. But, you know, the thing that gets me and it frustrates me, especially with people who even do vitamin C infusions, is understanding that all you're doing is preventing replication, and that as soon as you go off that medicine, if there's any remaining viral particles around, you know, it could be 10 days down the road and your disease will come back. And when it does come back, you'll have to take even more vitamin C to make the symptoms subside. They call it, in medicine, they call it ameliorate those symptoms. Now, it's very, very important that people understand what vitamin C does. And the word cure is being thrown around. I personally hate the word cure. Being an advocate for cancer patients, the word cure is very exploitive and unfair. And so vitamin C, I want to make it clear right now. I am an expert on vitamin C. Vitamin C cures nothing. It helps. It's therapeutic. It prevents replication. And when you know how it prevents replication and what the weaknesses are, then you can make it even better. Now, it's very important that, you know, somebody get a grip on it over there at Twitter. If you're going to go get a vitamin C infusion for your coronavirus, I don't think you're going to be able to snap your fingers and get one. You know, and most of the people that do vitamin C infusions aren't MDs. They are NDs and naturopaths and holistic doctors. So, you know, good luck in getting them, and getting them in the right manner, and the right timing, and for the right duration. At $150 a pop, you're going to need to do this vitamin C therapy for 2 weeks, and you got to do it for more than just one infusion a week. And it deactivates the virus. It puts it into a dormancy phase. It does not kill the virus. Even Linus Pauling, two-time Nobel Prize-winning chemist, he wrote the book on vitamin C. And everybody else, Thomas Levy, everybody else, Riordan, all of those guys that are big vitamin C laureates were following in the footsteps and the coattails of Linus Pauling. And it's important that people understand you've got to take something along with the vitamin C if you want to do it right, and if you don't want it to come back. And that's where humic acid is huge. It's amazing what this stuff does. And I've watched it being given to people with autoimmune diseases with suspected viral links, and their autoimmune got better. And you know, nothing's supposed to get your autoimmune better except what the medicine does, which is symptomatic relief most of the time. There are other things too that you can call your doctor today or tomorrow and ask him to order some of this stuff and keep it there for you in case you need it. And you'll pay for it. And see if he'll do it. I will release the name of that medication over on my Patreon channel because I don't want the same thing happening that happened with the Kimber Touch Technologies. I don't want to burn out a doctor and the doctors and the supply of a certain medicine. Last time I recommended this drug for Ebola, it went off the shelves. People ran out of it, and it was. You're trying to order some, you couldn't even order it. It was gone. It was just used up. So I don't want that to happen again. And so, but I'll be releasing, to my Patreon family, the name of that medication. It's an antiviral medication. I'm trying to give you clues. It's usually given in an injection form. And it's usually given intramuscular injections. But gosh, if we could get the doctors to order up some of this stuff, another known antiviral with a completely different mechanism of action than everything else that we're suggesting. And you guys, I'm not mad. I'm actually quite proud that you guys crashed. You crashed the Kimber Touch website. You ordered up all of the inventory in the first hour. It started making a run on the manufacturer. I mean, I love that I have that kind of influence because half the time I feel like a nobody, and to know that I could do that is quite eye-opening. But I've been informed that Kimber Touch took on a huge inventory, that they took out loans to get the inventory, and that they're going to make sure that because the prices keep fluctuating with the manufacturers. One day it's one price, the next day it's next price, and we're trying to buy in bulk so we can get the cost down, so we could buy some for ourselves at a cost that it's affordable, and then so that other people too can afford it. And so we're trying to save everybody a few bucks off the manufacturers. So I'm informed there's a huge inventory and there's a guarantee of 4-day shipping now. Some people waited up to 14 days, even longer, for a lot of this to go through. Also, I was informed that now, if you use Stripe as your credit card processing, that on your first orders, they withhold the money for 10 days. And don't release it. So if people are buying their own products, and you're there to keep the price down, and you're there to advise and consult, not just sell a product. You're there to actually help people do this right. It becomes frustrating when the manufacturer keeps changing prices. So they took on a big inventory for the next couple of weeks. Again, there'll be plenty of antiviral protocols available for anybody in the family here that wants them, and then they'll be made available to the general public. But a lot of this stuff is just being presented to the YouTube family, and we're asking that people do not copy these protocols that we've put in writing, and do not copy the protocols that we refer you to, and then start posting them all over the place. If you want to see panic buying and you want everything to be run out by next Friday, then start posting those protocols and see what happens. But you should all make sure that your families are taken care of before you start, sending other people to the same products that you need for yourselves. And so don't copy and paste those protocols, please, that are on some of these comment sections, because it's just going to make things really hard on us and you if you need these supplies down the road. So once again, great job everybody, and you made me look really good, and I told the sponsor I could bring you business as long as you put up the products that I can endorse. And so nobody's offered to do that to me on their website. So I thank you so much for demonstrating the power of knowledge. And until next time, be prepared, not scared.